D-Lo 404 boxing. All right, at 147 pounds, Errol Spence Jr. is the only unified champion, and currently, right now, he is the most accomplished. Currently, the most accomplished guy that Kell Brook has ever fought. Okay, should Kell Brook fight Bud Crawford, which by all intents and purposes looks like that's what's going to be next for him, Bud will be the most accomplished fighter that Kell Brook has ever faced. And I said that in a live stream, and I was corrected by somebody who felt different. They said, no, Errol Spence is the most accomplished. No, Errol Spence may be the most accomplished at 147 pounds, but when it comes to overall body of work, when you got a man who's won titles in multiple divisions, was undisputed in the previous division, and now holds a title in the same division as Errol Spence Jr., to me, that overall body of work shows more accomplishments. Does that mean that he's the better fighter? No, not necessarily. Does that mean that he beats him in the ring? No, not necessarily. Does that mean that he's going to be a bigger challenge for Kell Brook? No, not necessarily. All it means is what I said. And when I mean accomplished, I'm talking about being decorated. I'm talking about the accolades. I'm talking about what people can look at on paper and say, okay, this guy accomplished this, he accomplished this, he accomplished this, accomplished this. Now, I'm not talking about accomplishments in terms of who you've beaten. I'm talking about accomplishments in terms of what you've achieved, in terms of recognition, in terms of being known as or considered #1 pound for pound in the entire sport of boxing. Okay? But that being said, this is just my opinion, but I'm basing that opinion on what's factually happened. Okay? Now, as for who is the better fighter between Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford, I hope and pray we get to find out by them facing off mano a mano at the 147 pound limit, and I'm hoping that all the titles on the line for that fight. But if it doesn't play out that way because somehow Manny Pacquiao is being allowed to hold his title hostage, then it just is what it is. But I'm eager to see who can win the fight. I'm eager to see who's the better man on fight night. And I'll be honest, this is one of those fights that I hope we get 2 or 3 of. You know, I hope that the first fight is so competitive and so such a give and take affair that the demand is there for them to do it again. And then maybe after that, do it again. Because I think the rematch and the trilogies are lost in the sport of boxing. Now, don't get me wrong. I do think there are fights that we have unnecessary rematches for. Like, to be honest, the Dillian White-Povetkin fight, that's an unnecessary rematch to me, regardless of what happens in the rematch. I feel like there's no point in that fight being a rematch. There was nothing at stake. There was no title on the line. There was no title. If they claimed there was a rematch clause, but it didn't make sense for there to be a rematch clause, other than the fact that they didn't expect the favorite guy to win, or they knew that it was possible he could get knocked out, so they tried to cover their end. But that's it. That's neither here nor there. Terrence Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., as far as who is the better fighter, will be settled in the ring. For me and for my liking, for right now, and that's right now today, not talking about 2 weeks from now, I'm talking about today, October the 10th, 2020. Right now, Terrence Bud Crawford is the more accomplished fighter in the sport of boxing. And when he squares off with Kell Brook, he will be the most accomplished fighter that Kell Brook has ever fought, in my opinion. D-Lo 404 Boxing, all I got to say on the subject. I'm out. Peace.